guys? Justin Nelson here again with the Icon Podcast. Super excited to bring another episode from a good, close colleague in the EXP world that's actually just down the street from me. And when I say close, I mean close physically. So, Chad, I just want to welcome you to the show today.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. Well, kind of like on many podcasts, I'm really selfish. I don't know a lot of the people right off the bat, being newer to EXP myself, over the last year. So I'm going to selfishly get to know you a little bit better and kind of get to pick your brain on your icon journey
Okay.
today. But before we even get into that, I don't know a ton about you. I know our listeners might not know a ton about you. So I would love just to kind of get how did you get into real estate? Kind of where have you been the last few years in your real estate journey, and where are you at today?
Sure. So I started way back in 1997. So this is, I guess I just crossed the 23-year mark, this past month. So started, with a local guy. Well, actually the guy that sold me my first house was starting a team, and he just kind of mentioned to me that, hey, you'd be good at this. Why don't you get your license and, kind of work with me part-time and see how you like it. So I decided to take him up on that. I had been working at a financial planning firm. My background, my degree was in family financial planning. And I was working for a financial planning firm. I was on salary. It was a fee-only financial planning firm, and so I was on a salary that was a fairly meager salary, So I was looking to do something. I kind of always had that in me to want to do something that was dependent on the guy in the mirror instead of the guy in the corner office telling me what I was going to make. So I decided to take him up on that. I got my real estate license and started doing that. I got my license in September of 97, closed my first house the end of October of 97, decided to chunk it all and go full time in January of 98. And I guess the rest is history.
I love that, man. I love that. So I'll be honest with you. You're one of our longest tenured guests on the show in terms of getting to see probably a lot of different markets. Someone like myself, I've been in it 7 years now and haven't seen anywhere near the markets that you've gotten the chance to see. So tell me a little bit about what companies have you been at? I know you're obviously in the Birmingham area. And so I'd love to kind of hear, where have you been in your real estate journey? And then how long have you been at EXP now?
So the first company I was with was a Prudential Realty franchise in Birmingham. The guy that I was working with that I went to kind of work with him and learn a little bit. He made a move to another local firm in January of 98. That local firm then a few months later merged with another local firm to become what is now known as Realty South. And so, which is now owned by Berkshire Hathaway, part of the Home Services Group. And so I was there that happened in 98. In 2000, November of 2000, I moved to Remax, a Remax franchise here locally, and was there at that Remax office the rest of the time up until about a year and a week ago, actually. So I've been at EXP for a year now. I'm loving it. I mean, I had a great experience and great career where I was, but this has been a lot of fun in the past year.
I love that. I love that. So I love being able to pick your brain too, because we get people that have been at EXP 7 years, 8 years, 3 years. So someone that's been there for only a year, it's still kind of fresh to you. What was the main reason that made you jump over to EXP? Even if it's not like your favorite reason about EXP now, what was one of the main reasons that you went, you know what, I'm going to jump over to this model?
The real head turners were the opportunity for discounted stock purchases and stock awards coupled with revenue share. The more I looked into it and the more I studied about it and talked to people, I just started getting a sense of you know, that could really change my life and the life of my family. Um, and where else am I going to get that? And so those were the real head turners that made me feel like, look, I felt like after 19 years where I was and had really good relationships and loved everybody that I was working with and was not looking to leave. I was not looking to go anywhere. Um, those things caught my attention and I just really couldn't shake it. I spent about a month or so mulling it over, trying to, from the point of, hey, I need to look into this more, to really considering moving, talking to my broker, and then going, okay, well, I'm going to go back and think about what you've said. And it took another 2 weeks and then actually made the move. I just, the more I thought about it, I felt like I was taking a lot of, I think it was Brent Gove that I heard. What did he call it? Ego risk or something like that.
Yeah.
My fear
Oh, yeah.
was that, okay, if this doesn't pan out like I think it could, I'm going to have egg on my face, going, either going back where I came from or just going, okay, well, that didn't work, because none of us like to fail. But at the end of the day, I looked at it and I really didn't see a lot of risk other than the potential ego risk, because I felt like that, I've been around long enough to know that people do business with me because of my reputation, because of who I am, and because they know, like, and trust me, or they know someone who knows, likes, and trusts me. Um, and so I wasn't really worried about losing brand recognition. I realized that my business was not coming from my affiliation with Remax. And so I felt like my business would continue the way it was. I wasn't going to lose anything in my everyday business. And so there was really no risk. There was just the potential to gain a whole lot by the other things that EXP offered.
No, I love that. And I think you bring up a perfect point here is a lot of people forget, because we're talking to high producers a lot of the times, is a lot of people forget that agents jump brokerages more than anything I've ever seen. And
Yeah,
so for a lot of us that have been in a brokerage for a single long time, like we hesitate to switch brokerages, but
yeah,
I think you said it perfectly. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You had to go back to Remax and they said,
right,
they're 9 times out of 10 at someone at your production, especially in your reputation, they're not going to say no, right? You might
sure.
have to lick your wound a little
Well,
bit,
right.
but
I mean, I left where I was on good terms with the invitation of, hey, we're here, come back anytime, is what I was told on the way out the door. So I wasn't worried about that. And so those were the things that turned my head, were just the financial advantages that I thought could be real game changers for me and my family. And then outside of that, I think, once I've come over, I think even bigger than that, as big as those have been for me, I mean, it's been great. Um, the sense of collaboration and the cooperation and the encouragement among EXP agents, the transparency and the willingness to lift others up and to help others succeed has been like nothing I've ever seen before. And it's refreshing. It's a lot of fun.
yeah, no, I love that. I mean, just for us to be able to connect like this, like I wouldn't be able to do that in my old brokerage, as easily for
Yeah.
this. So I really appreciate that. So you kind of already answered our next question, is usually, hey, what is one thing that surprised you when you came over to EXP? And for you, it
Yeah.
sounds like it was the collaboration. So I know I don't really want to dive into rev share numbers or anything like that today, but like, as far as being a year in, has everything for you financially improved since being at EXP? And kind of how has that looked now being here just a year?
Oh, absolutely. My business is, I mean, I'm on track. I mean, as of the end of September, I will be right at or just above what I did for the whole year last year. So my everyday business of selling real estate hasn't changed. I mean, I'm sitting here right now. I can see $20 million. I will hit 20 million, by the end of September. And I did 21 last year. So I'll beat that this year. So my business has not suffered. I am, contrary to a lot of the rumor out there that EXP agents only run around recruiting and don't sell real estate. Well, this business model doesn't work if nobody sells real estate. So That is my love. That'll never change. I love selling real estate, and that I haven't checked up at that. It's been wonderful. So that's great. I think the move kind of gave my marketing kind of a kick in the pants. Just getting the word out that I've made a change and the buzz around it and everything. I think that kind of, it was a benefit, honestly.
I love that.
Um,
I love that. No, and I think
um,
that's critical. So tell me a little bit about the icon. Like, obviously, for me personally, and I say this on a lot of episodes, when I came to EXP, I didn't even know about the icon, didn't even really know it existed. So I would love to hear, when did you first hear about the icon piece of EXP? Was that a piece of your decision for coming? Like, did that
yeah,
influence your decision to come over?
it did. I mean, and simply because, I mean, I knew about it pretty early on as I started kind of researching EXP and what it was all about and what the benefits were. And so when I learned about the Icon Award, um, I knew based on my level of production that I would hit it easily. And so that was a big driving factor for me, is that, because by hitting Icon, you have the opportunity to receive your full $16,000 cap back in the form of company stock. And so basically I pay in $16,000 and then I get it back in stock. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And of course I was told coming in, oh, well, the stock's not worth anything and, all this sort of stuff. And you're really going to count on that. And man, if I hadn't made this move a year ago, I'd be so mad at myself right now.
I love that. I love that. So when did you officially icon with EXP?
I hit the production requirement mid-April.
Okay.
I came to EXP September 10th of last year. Still had some closings left over at my old brokerage, so I didn't close anything with EXP until the end of October. And then I was Icon. I hit the production requirement officially the April 15th, and then I was awarded Icon the following month in May.
I love that. I love that. So it sounds like, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, you're like a lot of our guests. You probably got the Icon Award when the stock was anywhere between like $7 and $15.
Yeah, it was. So I got the Icon Award and that initial $8,000 worth of stock that you get up front. I got that at, I forget the exact number. It's $8 and some change, $8.30 something cents, and today it's $42 or something like that. So do the math on that. That's
I love
fun.
that. I love that. So for you math geeks out there, it's pretty easy to say you've been paid to be at EXP. Your commission split
Yeah.
wasn't 100, it wasn't 80. It sounds like your commission split was like 120%.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. I mean, and I've taken full advantage of the discount stock purchase program. 5% of each commission check that I get, they hold 5% back, and after the end of that month, that those dollars are used to purchase EXP stock at a 10% discount. So that's an automatic 10% return on my money. And I've got a nice, healthy little account sitting there at the level that I produce based on that, 5%, being cut out of each one.
I love that. I love that. So being able to take advantage of all those different pieces. Now, one question I have for you, because I'm super interested to know this, was there anything that you were hesitant about or didn't truly believe in when you came over to EXP?
It was, EXP is relatively new in our market. I mean, there have been a few folks that were, when I came over anyway. Now we've grown a lot in the past year. But when I came to EXP in the whole state of Alabama, there were a little over 200 agents in the entire state. I don't know how many of those were in our Birmingham market, but there were just a handful. And so I guess there's just the normal, just concerns over going to a company that nobody knows. And I knew I was going to walk in as I had been surrounded at Remax by giants. I was working with the best of the best and people that were producing at a high level. I've been anywhere from, when I was at Remax, I was always, for the past several years, always in the top 10 Remax agents in the state of Alabama, have been as high as number 2 as far as single agents go. And so I knew I was going to walk in as the top producing single agent in the state. and that concerned me a little bit because you always want to surround. I've always wanted to surround myself with people that are doing more than I am, because you can learn from those people, right? And so that was a little bit of a concern. But man, we're growing. We're getting, more and more top producing agents in. And then the fun for me has been being able to give back and lift up new agents and agents that are wanting to build their business, and helping those people to do that. But yeah, I guess that was the biggest concern was, am I going to be the Lone Ranger over here, the only the only guy that kind of sees the light? Which we had others right before me. Gusty Goulis had moved his entire operation locally over. He owned Brick Realty, a successful local independent brokerage, and he moved his whole brokerage over to EXP, which got my attention, honestly, to go, okay, I need to look into this a little bit more. Jenny Williams had been over here for a while, which a lot of people know her from training and stuff like that. So I knew both of them very well and started picking their brains about it.
I love that. So how did you plug in then? Because for someone that was used to chasing high producers and being in their ecosystem, like how did you adjust to that in the EXP world, and how have you combated that as your state continues to grow and bring in more high producers each and every day?
I'm learning more and more to that people look up to me, and that I have something to give back. So I've am more and more embracing that, and just trying to be an encourager, and a teacher, of people out there that seek my advice or wisdom from being the old guy around this business for 23 years. But and some of the things that have kept me, you talk about, just friendly competition and stuff, I'm still competing with, looking at people's numbers at other companies and trying to, catch them or see if I'm in the running with them. But I also, some of the things that EXP has, my first thing was, okay, how fast can I cap? And then it's like, okay, how quick can I hit icon? And then, it's just all these little things that you keep seeing that are out there. I think I found somewhere deep in some of the literature somewhere that there are different production level awards or something. And so the top one I could find was double diamond, and I think I hit that. So, so it's just looking for things to sort of keep that carrot out in front of you.
Oh, I love that, man. I love that. So tell me, how is your team structured today? Is it just you? Do you use a transaction coordinator? Do you use an admin? Because as a solo agent, doing anywhere north of 10 million is no easy feat.
So I'm basically a single agent. Now, my wife got her license about a year and a half ago, and so we're technically a domestic team with EXP, because her license is with EXP as well. But she helps me out where needed. If I need her to open a door for me somewhere or whatever, but I'm kind of I'm the one more plugged in. If when it comes contract time or anything like that, she kicks that over to me. But as far as other support staff, I do have a transaction coordinator. I've done it both ways. I waited too long to bring somebody on to help me with that, honestly. In 2016, I did 86 transactions that year, all by myself with no transaction coordinator, and I swore to never do that again. I did 20 transactions in the month of May of that year, all by myself.
Wow,
so,
that's insane.
Yeah,
I think
insane is the operative word there. That's
I think a lot of agents listening would be like, how do I even do 20 in a year, let alone 20 in a single month with all the courses?
You do what you have to do. If it means 3 a.m. emails, then that's what you do.
I love that. I love that. So talk to me a little bit as a high producer. This is kind of off the train of EXP, kind of just a general life thing here in business. How do you stay sane? I know you have kids, you have a family. How do you kind of retreat, kind of re-energize yourself? And, what are some things that you focus on to make sure that you don't burn out? Because as someone at your level, you could work 100 hours a week if you desired to each and every week. So how do you kind of recenter, re-energize as a high producer in your market?
I try to keep in perspective because, look, there are those times that you're just running crazy, and the market is what it is, and you almost, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And there are those spurts of time. I've made the reference a couple of times that it's like the tail wagging the dog. And you want to control that some, you don't want to be like that all the time, but there are spurts of time where I just know that, okay, I'm going as fast as I can go right now. I'm burning the candle at both ends, but it won't last. And I keep that in perspective, that you're right around the corner, there's going to be a little bit of a slowdown. It doesn't stay at this pace all the time. And then I'll relax. And I've learned to, when we do hit a little bit of a seasonal lull or something, to relax and enjoy that time and not be stressed out about the fact that, the phone's not ringing off the hook. So part of that's a mindset of just learning to deal with that. I do, I work out. I go to the gym with a trainer 3 days a week. I play some tennis. So I enjoy doing things like that just to stay healthy and active. Because I find that when I'm not doing those things and I get away from it, I get a little lazier in all areas of my life, and, the brain fog comes in and things like that. So that's helpful. And Jennifer and I have a great marriage, great relationship. And, she's my safe place. I mean, we, sometimes just unplug and, leave the phone in the house and go for a walk or something, and just, whatever we need to do to, sometimes she'll pull the phone out of my hand and go, okay, you got to shut it down for a minute.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So obviously, you've been at EXP for a year now, and there's a lot of big vision that you have going within the company. What is one thing that you can tell me from a perspective, and I mentioned this on a lot of podcasts too, like what prevented me from coming to EXP sooner was my ego. Right? I was afraid of what people would think. I was afraid of how am I going to look at it? Am I going to get sucked into it? And it sounds like you made a pretty quick decision relative to some people to come over. So what would you tell someone if you had a brand new agent, a mid-sized producer, a large producer that came and sat down with you and said, Chad, what should I do next to see if EXP is a good fit for me?
One, I would say talk to somebody. I mean, find somebody that you trust. For me, I made the phone call to Jenny Wick. Nobody ever recruited me. Nobody ever called me and said, hey, Chad, you've got to do this. Jenny had been over less than a year, maybe about 9 months. I'd known her for a long time. So I called her up and said, hey, I want to know more about this. I don't know that I'm making any kind of moves, but I'm really intrigued by this company and what it offers. And I just want to hear more about it. And, so I told her, I was like, I want to get together, but look, we have to do this, in the dark corner of a basement with a dimly lit light bulb. I mean, it was because I didn't want to. I knew that if somebody saw me talking to somebody, things get back, and I didn't want things to get blown out of proportion or things to get crazy until I was ready to make a decision, So I think it's important to find somebody that you trust to be confidential, to sit down and talk with and learn more about it. I tell people all the time, if they're curious, whether they're thinking about making a move or not, I'm always open to talking to other agents about EXP. I want them to know the truth about what the company is all about, instead of the rumors and misinformation that's out there about EXP. So I'm happy to sit down and talk with people, and I'll keep it completely confidential. And so I'd say find somebody that you feel like you can trust to keep it confidential, that you're talking to them, and ask questions and learn more about it. Heck, get a guest pass to EXP World and have somebody, take you around in there. You can even put a fake name on there so nobody sees your name, above your head when you're in there, So things like that, just to investigate it and learn more about it. It felt like an eternity, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, it was a pretty quick decision to move. Part of my thing was, if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it sooner rather than later. I had this overriding fear of, I didn't want to wait 6 months and feel like I had missed out on something, and I would have. This company's going great places, and there's still a lot of growth and a lot of great things to benefit from. But all I've benefited from the past year, I wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't made that move when I made it. And it was a big leap of faith. I did a lot of praying about it, and um, I thought at the end of the day, I kind of took it that with God not letting me let this go, I kind of took it as that He was kind of telling me, you know what, this is something you need to give a shot and step out on faith and do this thing. So
No, I love that. And for those listening, we're going to have Chad's information below and Chad, you can tell me if I'm wrong here, but you are helping people that are, because since you run kind of like a solo team with EXP, there's still a way for you to partner with other people, whether they're in your market, in other states. And so I'm going to have Chad's information below, but
absolutely.
talk to me about that. Like when people partner with you, what are some of the things that you're able to do with them to help them grow their business, even though they're not on your team, they're not having to pay you a split. But if someone goes, hey, I align with Chad's energy, I love, even if they're not in your market, how can they partner with you at EXP to be able to grow their business?
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of EXP is, look, one of the things that I had thought about in the back of my mind is, what's next for me? Did I want to start a traditional team, or did I want to start my own brokerage or something? The beauty of the EXP business model is I can grow a team without any boundaries, um, and sort of have a group of people that I can help and support and encourage, without having the expense and liability of owning a brokerage. EXP can handle that part of it. So yeah, I mean, whether it's people in my local market, people in other parts of my state, or people in other states or other countries. I mean, we're moving into several other countries now. We are able at EXP to sponsor other agents, and I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy meeting and encouraging other agents and helping them to, find the answers that they're looking for, and then being a resource for them to help them build their business and grow. I've got several new agents that I'm also a certified mentor with EXP. And so I have a few mentee brand new agents that I help, and that's rewarding. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I'm getting calls left and right about contracts they're writing and scenarios that they're running into, and I'm here to help them. And so, all of those things. I brought in a guy the other day that he's sold $6 million already this year, so he's not needing a lot of hand holding and a lot of help. But I'm here with any any advice, any help, anything that anybody needs to bounce off of me. I tell people all the time, I tell my clients all the time, I've been doing this long enough that if you have a question that I don't know the answer to, I'm pretty sure I know where to find the answer. So I will get it for you.
I love that, man. I love that. So kind of remind the listeners here as we kind of wrap up, like what are I mean, I've been to Birmingham a few times to teach on the road. And so like, what market are you actually in, and what are kind of the big cities that people would hear of, that if they hear of it, that they can reach out to you for referrals?
Okay. Yeah. So I'm in the greater Birmingham market. I live in Chelsea, Alabama, which is in Shelby County. It's a suburb of Birmingham. I don't know, probably a little less than 20 miles outside of downtown. And Chelsea is a market that I've been the top producing agent in Chelsea for several years in a row. Other towns or, around our area that people might have heard of in Shelby County, you've got Pelham, Alabaster, Helena, Calera. Closer to Birmingham, you've got Hoover is the biggest one, probably Hoover, Vestavia, Mountain Brook, Trussville, some of those cities. So across the, we're located right in the central part of the state, kind of halfway between the beach and where you are in Nashville. So.
I love that. I love that. So what's the best way for those looking to partner with you to get referrals? What's the best way to contact you? As a busy man, we know you have a lot of things going on. What's the best way that someone can get a hold of you to have a chat with you?
I'm pretty easy to get. I mean, my phone number is real easy to remember. It's 205-401-CHAD. Chad is 2423. So
easy. Where'd
yeah.
you get that number from?
I just several years ago, I just asked for it and they gave it to me. So
that's awesome, man. Well, I want to first off say we really appreciate you being on here, being able to share information. I look forward to meeting you personally at one of our future
Absolutely.
events. In the meantime, we'll just have to keep it probably at the Verbella world, EXP world. We'll keep on meeting in there. But I just want to say I really appreciate your time. And I hope that people on this podcast today, whether they have referrals or they're looking to partner with someone like yourself at EXP, that they'll reach out, pick your brain, and, just learn a little bit more about what EXP can do for them.
Absolutely. I'm happy to help.
I love it, man. Well, Chad, I appreciate it. And as we wrap up here, guys, as always, signing off from the Icon Podcast. If there's anything we can ever do for you, don't hesitate to let us know, Chad. I appreciate you being on with us today.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Justin. It was great doing this.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, signing off from the Icon Podcast. Have a great rest of your week.